So this is an example of an array where you can see that the values are stored in a contiguous memory allocations. So fine. So always the indexing will start from a 0 and then ends with array size minus 1. So we have seen different types of arrays, that is single dimensional and multi-dimensional. So this was the syntax we have discussed, how to declare array and how to initialize the arrays. Okay. So for today's topic, we'll start with the discussion of strings. Okay, first is you need to understand what you mean by string and how it is stored in a application. So string is a one-dimensional array of characters. Okay, string is a one-dimensional array of characters which is terminated by null characters / 0. This is an example. So how do you define a character in a C programming? So characters are defined in a single quote. Okay. So when I talk about strings, so string is an array. Array, what do you mean by array? It is a collection of similar types. So what type we are talking about? We are talking about character here, right? So character, string is a array of characters and terminated by /0. Okay, /0. So this is how this /0 we call it as a null symbol. Okay, so always in a string, the end of the string will be null symbol. Okay, that is /0. So thus a null terminated string contains the character that compromises the string followed by a null. So you can see how to declare a string. So we need to define a data type. So whenever we are talking about string, so the data type always will be character. Okay, character followed by the string name. So this is the name of the string str followed by the size. So I have given the size as 10. Okay, and how you can initialize? You can initialize by putting equal to and double quote. So whenever you are declaring a character, you can initializing a character, you can use single quote. Whenever you are initializing a string, you can use double quotes. So you can also initialize using a character, but you need to specify like this, like each character comma character comma character, so on, and last symbol always should be a null character. So if you are initializing like this, no need to specify the null symbol here. It is automatically taken by the compiler. Okay. So this is how you can initialize a string. So I repeat once again. So what is a string? String is an array of one-dimensional array of characters which are terminated by a null symbol. So we call it as a characters. So how we can, so this is the okay, everyone please join the WhatsApp group using the link. Okay. Yeah. So I was talking about this. So this is how the memory allocation of characters. So we are saying hello, right? HELLO. So each character is stored in a memory. So you can see here in this example. So H is stored in the index 0. Since it is a array of characters, so always the index will start from a 0. Okay. Index is always starts with a 0. And you can see there is a 1 byte because each character takes a 1 byte memory allocation. So that's why there is, you can see here the memory address is incremented by 1. Fine. And always this the strings ends with a /0. So just I will execute and show this program. So for execution, what I'm doing, I installed Ubuntu in a virtual machine. Is this visible? Screen is visible? Yeah, please let me know.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. So how you can execute a I hope you already know, you already gone through the C programming classes. So I hope you know, but still you may not be remembering. So I will repeat once again. So how we need to execute programs just in Ubuntu I'm telling. Okay. So just go to that particular folder where the programs are there. So how to go, wait. So whenever you open a terminal, you will get this. Okay. You will get this screen. So where I need to go? I need to go to the folder where the files are present. So my files are present in here. You can see here in the strings folder in the desktop. So that's why I need to go to the that particular folder. So for that I should use commands. So cd is for change directory. Okay. So change directory I'm going to for the desktop followed by the strings folder. Correct? Okay, so cd I'm changing the directory to the strings. Any doubts here? How you should go to the particular directory? Pretty simple. Okay, cd followed by the path. So I'm entering. So I'm in the folder, that particular folder. So I need to open the files. So for that I require editor software. So I'm using gedit. So it is an editor in the Ubuntu. So you can use this gedit for opening your document. So first I'm going to show you the hello example. Okay, hello.c. So I'm opening that hello.c. Fine. Any doubts here? Okay. So I entered that. So this the program I already written. So the program is visible. Is it yeah, please answer. It's visible. Sujit.
So
Okay. So this is what is this header file? So it is a standard input output header file where all the functions are declared. So we are writing that as a first line, and this is the our main function. So every C program should contain one main function. So it is the beginning of the execution, right? So and we are talking about characters here. So I have declared a character. So this is my array name, greetings, and the size I have given as 10. Okay. So I'm initializing here using equal to. So equal to, so character by character I'm giving. So I'm storing hello in the string greeting. Okay. So I need to display it. So for the displaying, for the strings I should use percentage s symbol. Okay. So this is the format specified for the strings. So if I specify C here, so it is a format specified for a character. So since we are working with the strings, so format specified should be percentage s. Okay. And so I'm what I'm displaying. So I'm displaying greetings. So in the greetings, what we have hello. So the output should be hello world. And what is the slash n? So slash n is for the new line character. Okay. So this is the symbol you need to use for the new line. So that's why slash n I had given. So any doubts here? Please answer. Someone please answer. Any doubts?
no, sir.
Okay. So how to execute this program? So since I'm in editor, so I'm closing this particular editor here. Okay. So yeah, so I will get the command prompt here. So how to run the program? So GCC. So this is the compiler we are using. So you can also use CC, no problem. So I prefer GCC. So you can use GCC. Okay, followed by the program name you have given. So I'm executing hello here, hello.c. Okay, so this is the program I'm executing. So I entered hello.c. So there are no errors. No, there are no syntax error. If there are any errors, it will be displayed here. So since there are no error, so you can see in the screen that is a.out. It is a executable file. So after compiling, we'll generate an executable file. So that is a.out here. So that's what we are running. How to run that? Dot slash a.out. So this is how you need to run a program, and you can see the output. So once I type enter, so this is the hello world. Okay, this is a simple example I have shown for the string output. Okay, you can do many operations on string. So anyway, when we talk about when we implemented stacks, queues, and other things, so we'll see that what are the different operations we can do. Yeah. So what are the types of how you can read strings? Okay. So in the C programs, you can input output string functions. So these are the some of the input output string functions we have. So we have seen here. I think in the previous examples we have seen printf and scanf, and I told about gets and puts also. So this the string, I have an example for that. Okay, so this gets is used for receiving character strings from a console. So if you need to read a string from the keyboard, then it's better you can use gets function. So gets is an inbuilt function for reading a string from the keyboard. Okay, so this is the syntax you can see here. So cat string. So this is the name of the array. Okay, so of type character. So we can read the string value from the console by using this syntax, that is gets followed by the string array name. So if you specify this, so you can it will ask user to enter the string. And for similarly for printing the string you have puts. So this is the function that is used for printing the string data on the console. Okay, so this is an example for reading as well as out by for displaying. So you can also use the scanf and printf, but when you are working with the strings, yeah. So when you are working with the strings, so there may be you will give like for example you are giving your full name, that is say my name is Sridhar Sanchi, my first name followed by space followed by the last name. So whenever you are reading the character from percentage yes, it will whenever you put space it will terminate the reading. Okay, so that is the disadvantage of using scanf. Okay, when we are talking about so with the string, let me show you. Yeah, so say for example this is the program for reading a string using scanf. Okay, so what I'm doing, I'm reading with the scanfs. So I can do it for string, I can do it for gets also, but I'm showing the example with respect to scanf. So I'm reading a string by using percentages followed by the name of the string. So just see the execution here. What will be my output? So this is the output string hello.c. So I'm outputting. Yeah. So I should enter my first name space last name. But whenever I enter my first name, if I give space, so it will not take the next characters. So that is the disadvantage of scanf function. Okay, so if I give here space Sanchi, okay, but you can see here the output, it will display only the, so I have read Sridhar Sanchi, but you can see here using scanf it only read Sridhar. Okay, so whenever I given space, so that will not be considered. So the next characters will not be considered. Only the string which we given before space, that will be considered using scanf. But when we use scanf, sorry, get s, So there we can use space also. So you can see here. So same example what I'm doing. So I'm reading the string using getters here. Okay. So this is the syntax for reading a string. So getters str, and I'm displaying that value, string value, using putters. Okay. So now you can see that we can give the first name space the last name. Okay, so these are some warnings because of this gets function is deprecated. It's saying it's okay. It's a warning. It's not an error. Yes. So now I'm entering my name Sridhar space my last name. So now you can see that the full string, whatever the string that I have given, that will be stored in the str. Okay, so you can see the full name is displayed. Okay, that is the difference between scanf and getters, printf and putters. Fine. Any doubt here? You understood? You understood what is the use of scanf? Sorry, getters and printers, putters.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, so there are some functions. There are inbuilt functions to handle the strings. So these, I think you have already worked with this. So let me refresh your memory. Okay, so string handling functions, we have many inbuilt functions. Say for example, one function is string cat. So this is used for joining two strings together. Okay, so if we have two strings, say string 1 and string 2, so the contents of string 1 and string 2 has to be merged. Then we should use this inbuilt function string cat. So another one is, if you identify what is the length of a string, then you can use this str length. Okay, so this will give you the length of the string. Next is string copy. So again, this is an inbuilt function. Suppose if you want to copy the content of one string to the another, then you can use this strcpy. Okay, and next one is string compare. So suppose if you want to compare one string with the another, then you can use this string compare. So all these functions are inbuilt, and for this function, in order to use this function, you need to use the string.h function. Okay, yeah. So this is about the string. So we will execute a lot of examples when we execute the next modules and things, so we will come to know. Okay, so this is just for introduction for you. And the next topic is built-in functions. So as I told, specifically to this header file, so this is an input output header file, so which contains all the definitions for all these functions. Okay, so what are these? So these are like printf for printing the value in the monitor, in the display. Okay, fprintf is for printing in a file. Okay, scanf for reading, and getchar for reading a character, gets is for reading a string, putchar is for putting a character on the display, puts is for displaying on the screens, uh, displaying string on the screen, right? Like that, we have already built-in functions. So these built-in functions are already defined in some header files. So whenever you are using this built-in function, you need to use this particular header. Okay, you need to use this particular headers. Say suppose just now I had talked about string copy, string cat, string compare. Okay, so all these are built-in functions, so they are already built in, uh, uh, coded definition, and they are already included in the library. So for that particular purpose, you need to use some header file. So these are the examples. Like suppose if I'm using the header file string.h, so these are the functions I can use. Okay, So if you are using any of this function and if you are not included that particular header file, then it will throw an error. So we have like a standard stdio.h, lib.h, like if you want to allocate dynamic memory, okay, if you want to convert ASCII to integer, and if you want to read a random number, so all these things are there in this particular header file, which is the lib.h. Similarly, string elements have len.h, so like execution time, c time, so all these functions are used. And the other uh, header file is math.h, so if you want to perform some mathematical related values, so you can use this particular math.h. Suppose say if you want to calculate power of some number, so then you need to use the power function, so which is there in the header file math.h. So these are the some of the built-in functions which are there in the C program. Okay, so I think you will be using this malloc, okay, malloc, cloc. So these functions you will be using for strings. You will be using this, and for some examples, you will be using some mathematical functions. Okay, so make sure you remember this header file. So I will show you one example. I think, yeah. So what I'm doing, I'm calculating the length of a string. Okay, so this is the program. So I am using the str length, okay, function. So that's why I have used string.h function. Okay, hash include string.h. So this is the header file where string length is defined. So that's why I'm uh, defining here. So next is I'm defining two strings. Okay, defining, and also I'm initializing. Okay, hello world. So this is string one is hello, and string two is a word, and string three. So what I'm doing, I'm merging these two in a one string. So for that particular purpose, I'm declaring the another string. Okay, so these are the operations we can do, like string copy, string cat. Okay, finding the length of a string using inbuilt functions. So strcpy is an inbuilt function in the string.h. So you can see here. So strcpy is a inbuilt function. So what is the purpose of this? It will copy one's content of one string to the another. So in this particular example, what I'm doing, so the content of string one is hello, so I'm copying that into a string three. So string three I have not initialized. So now after executing this particular instruction, so whatever the content of string one is there is copied to the string three. Fine. So that is what I'm doing. So I'm copying the content of string one to string three, and I am printing the value. So now string three, the value should be printed here is hello, right? So because we are copying it, and after doing that, I'm concatenating two strings. So what I'm doing, so I'm using the inbuilt function str cat. Okay, so this is the, yeah, so this is the inbuilt function for merging two strings value. So that's what I'm doing, string cat. So you can see here, so this is the function. So yeah, this is the function string cat str1 comma str2. So the content of str2 is merged with the str1. And the last, what I'm doing, I'm calculating what is the length of a string. So this is another built-in function strlen, and this is the length I'm calculating. This is the string. For this string, I'm calculating the length. What is the length of that particular string? So I am displaying that value. So since the length of string is an integer, so I'm using the format specifier %d. Any doubt here? If you're not understood any of the line, please ask me. So I'm executing this particular program. So how to execute? GCC followed by, I will clear this. So GCC followed by the program name. So my program name is stringlen.c. So I'm entering here. So there are no errors. So I did not get any error warnings here. So I'm executing it by running the file dot slash a dot out. Yeah. So you can see here the output. So first I'm copying the content of string 1 to the string 3. So you can see here I'm displaying the string 3 value. Okay. So string 3 value I'm displaying here. So that's why this hello. Okay. Next, what I'm doing, I'm concatenating two strings, that is string 1 and string 2. So you can see that string 2 value is concatenated, is merged with the string 1. So I'm displaying that value, okay, string 1. So you can see here it is a hello world. Now, third, what I'm doing, I'm calculating the length of a string. So what is the length of a string hello world? Just check it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is the length of a string. So please don't consider null as a, whenever you're calculating the length of a string, you should not consider the null character. So if you consider the null character, then it will be 11. But we should not consider the when we are calculating the length of a string. That's why it is 10. Okay. By default, whenever we use string length, so it will not consider the null character. So the string length is 10. Fine. Any doubts here? Yeah, please answer. Any doubt here? Anyone answer? No. Chandramouli.
No, sir.
Chandramouli is okay. Okay. Next. So these are the inbuilt functions. This how we can use. So we need to include that particular header file. So next is user defined function. We can also create our own functions, and we can also, okay, and also, or you can put it in a header file, or also you can put it in the programs. So what we call it as a user defined functions. So the user only can create a functions. So within a program, user only can specify the functions. So let's see how we can declare a function and how we can use that particular function. So why we need to use a particular function? So whenever we code a very large program, so certain parts of the program we may execute multiple number of times. So for that particular purpose, so we will write one function. So it can consisting of small, means it consisting of some instructions. So it will do a particular task. If the same task has to be performed in different in the different parts of the programs, then we should call this particular function. So whenever we call that particular function, so the same instructions will be executed again. So no need to write multiple number of times. So that is the one example, that is the one advantage of using functions. Okay. So whenever we want to use a particular function, then these three steps we need to follow. So what is that three steps? That is, first, initially we need to declare a particular function, we call it as a function declaration. So this is how we should declare a function. So function, I will show that the example so that will be clear. Yeah. So what I've written is for finding a factorial, okay, factorial of a given number. So this is how you need to declare a function. So what is the syntax? You need to specify the return type of the function. What is the return type? So after executing this function, so this function will return me some value. So what is that value? So that value will be of type long. That's what it means. Okay. So whenever I execute this function, it will return me one value. So that value is a type of long. So this is what the syntax. So return type, okay, followed by the function name. So it is a user defined, okay, and type, and again in the bracket we need to specify the parameters, okay. So type 1 parameter 1 value. So in this example, I'm not, yeah, I'm passing one parameter for this function. So what is that uh, parameter? That is of type integer. So you can see here, so I'm passing int n here. So n is the number that we want to calculate the factorial. Okay, so this is function declaration. Any doubts here? So how you need to define the function? So return type, function name, and parameters. Okay, and next, so this is the first step we need to follow. So the first step is we need to declare that particular function, so that the compiler will know that this function definition is present after the means it will be present in the program. Okay, so that is what we call it as a function declaration. Next is function call. So if you want to make, if you want that particular function to be executed, then we need to call that particular function. So this is the second step. So calling of a function. So how you can call a function? So you need to say type variable equal to function name. So if that function is returning something, so that value has to be stored in particular variable. So that's why it is a type variable equal to the function name followed by bracket, and in the bracket whatever the parameters that you want to send, so those values should be present here. So you can see in this example, so what I'm I have defined a function. Okay, so this is my function and I need to make use of this particular function. So how I can make use of that particular function? I need to call this function. So this is the, yeah, so this is how I'm calling this function. So factorial function name. So since it returned me a one value, so that is a type of long integer. So that's what the long integer I'm displaying here. If you're getting confusion, so just I will write here long. I will define one variable long. Yes, okay. Yes, and the factorial. So how we need to define this? So there is a type variable equal to function name. So type variable, so the function will return me a long value. So my type variable is res. So res is a type of long variable. So long variable followed by equal to followed by the function name. And so for that particular function, I'm putting a parameter n here. So this n is forwarded to this particular factorial, this factorial function. Okay, so after, so this is the function call. So after executing this particular function, it will return a long value. So this long value I'm storing it in a variable. So that variable I'm displaying it here. So when I call this particular function, it will go to this particular function where the definition of this function is. So you can see here, this is the third step. So this is the third step where we need to write a definition of the function. So you can see here, this is the third step, function definition. So I was talking about built-in functions. So all the definitions of the built-in functions are defined in the header file. So that's what we are, that's why we are not creating any definition whenever we are using built-in function. So if you are defining a built user defined function, you need to write the function definition. So this is the syntax for writing the function definition type, function definition, that is return type followed by the function name followed by the parameters, then opening curly bracket, and within that you need to write the set of instructions. So you can see here in this example. So this is how you need to write the function definition. So this is the return value, the factorial name of the function, and the parameters here. So I'm passing n as a variable. So that value is copied into this particular variable int n, and set of functions I'm doing. So once this functions, I'm calling this function, so it will execute and it should return me some value. So what is that value? That value should be of type long. So in this particular example, I'm returning r. So return is a keyword that is used in the C program. Okay, so it has a specific meaning, so it will return a value to this callee function. So return r. So the value of r is returned to this particular function where I'm calling. So the value of r is copied to res. Okay. So the result of this function is returned to this line. So this line is nothing but value of r. So the r value is copied to a result res. Okay. So that I'm displaying here. So this is how you need to use the user defined functions. So let me execute. Just I should save this file. Factorial.c. So there is some error. What is that? Expected semicolon. So I think I have missed. Yeah. So I have missed a semicolon here. So I have given semicolon, saved it. Again, I'm running. Yeah, there are no errors. So I'm running the program. So I'm asking the user to enter the number that you want to calculate the factorial. So enter the number to calculate. So this is where I'm reading the value. Okay. So I will enter 5. Yeah. Yeah. So you can see that I'm calculating the factorial of 5 is 120. Okay. So this is the result. So this is how we need to use the user defined functions. Fine. So what are the 3 steps you need to remember? One is function declaration. Okay, it will help the compiler that there is a function called as whatever the name you give. Okay, and then function call. So it is used for executing that particular function, and you need to specify here if there are any parameters, you can pass those parameters to this function. And functional definition, so where exactly you will have to write the instructions. So if you want to do that particular task, you should specify in the instructions. So the code for this particular function will be defined here. Any doubts here for today's class? So I'll wind up. Any doubts here for today's class? So please practice. So take different examples. You can please so whenever you are running the any examples, don't just copy and paste the code. You only type so that you will understand. If you copy and paste, you will not understand much of the concepts. Okay, you only type, and if there are any errors, you can debug so that you will learn and then run. Okay, and if you are facing some any difficulties, you can always WhatsApp me or you can always call me. Okay, any doubts for today's class?